I've been playing Pokemon for the better part of 20 years now, and ever since I was old enough to hold a Game Boy in my hands, I have been enamored with this series. I would spend hours playing Pokemon Blue as a kid, collecting as many friends as I could, and trying my hardest to be the very best. Like, no one ever was. Of course. But in all my years of playing Pokemon, through all the generations and through countless games, I have never attempted a Nuzlocke. Until now, that is. For the uninitiated, a Nuzlocke is a different way of playing Pokemon, with self-imposed rules that turns this cutesy little kids game into the latest entry in the freaking Dark Souls series. The basic rules for a Nuzlocke are pretty simple. You can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter in a given area, unless you already have that Pokemon. If a Pokemon faints, it's dead for good, and that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, you also have to nickname each of your Pokemon as you catch them to make your attachment to them more personal. So now you're not just killing Caterpie, you're actually killing Gumby, and you have to live with the consequences of those actions now. The big catch with a Nuzlocke, though, is you only get one life. If your party faints, that's it. The game's over. No do-overs, no revives, nothing. Nada. Roll credits, you're done. With those rules in place and absolutely no planning whatsoever, it was time to set off my very first Pokemon Nuzlocke. I decided on Pokemon Fire Red for my first Nuzlocke because it's the game that I've played through the most times, and it takes place in the Kanto region, which has the Pokemon I'm most familiar with and whose moves I know the best. Getting started, Chad argued that I should choose Bulbasaur as my starter, as it makes the first part of the game a lot easier, to which I said, "You're absolutely right," and proceeded to choose Charmander instead, because he's cooler, and I love him. I named my Charmander Zippo, and we were immediately confronted by our rival, Green, and his Squirtle. Big shock. But we should still be able to handle him with relative ease since we're just getting started. After beating our rival for the first of so many times during this game, we ventured out into the wilderness, finally starting our journey. We made it up to Viridian City, picked up Oak's parcel, got the Pokedex and our balls handed to us from Professor Oak, and set off on our journey, uninterrupted at last. As we ventured forth, we caught our very first friend, a Pidgey named Mary. Our next friend came in the form of a Spearow, that chap promptly named Bird Devil for some sick reason. At this point, I was terrified of our odds of beating the first gym with our current team, so I spent some time grinding levels in the hellhole that is Viridian Forest, where we picked up a Rattata named Diaper and a Caterpie named Bean, who we promptly spent way too much time leveling until it eventually evolved into Butterfree. We took on our rival yet again in a completely optional battle outside Viridian City for some easy XP, and at this point I realized we may have been a little over leveled for the first gym. But it's okay. It's not like we have a Charmeleon or anything, right? Fuck! But just like that, we made it to the first gym in Pewter City. The fight against Brock was fairly easy considering what level we were, but Onyx always terrifies me in this battle. We tried to use Bean to poison him, but sadly, a tragic miscalculation led to the death of our beloved Bean the Butterfree before we even beat the first gym. Her sacrifice was not in vain, however, as her lone poison powder gave us the edge we needed to sweep Brock's gym and earn the Boulder Badge. I'm not gonna lie, this one hurt. Losing a Pokemon is never easy, but losing one this early in the game is always a rough spot to be in. So with our victory in hand and a heavy heart, we laid Bean to rest and headed on towards Mount Moon. On our way to Mount Moon, we encountered a chance Nidoran that would have been a huge addition to the team, had Diaper not ruined it for us. Again. This isn't the first time that little bastard screwed us. However, we made up for it by making a purchase from a shady man we found at our local hospital and acquiring Derp, the Magikarp. We finally made it to Mount Moon, and after sweeping Team Rocket with our overpowered team and collecting the Dome fossil, not the Helix fossil, successfully made it to Cerulean City, where our next foe awaited, the fearsome water-type gym leader, Misty. I'm not gonna lie, I was terrified of this gym since we started with Charmander, and half of our team currently consisted of underleveled flying-type Pokemon at this point. So before we took on Misty, we headed north, where we faced our rival again, failed to join Team Rocket, and helped out a furry who gave us tickets to the SSN. Oh yeah, and we dropped Derp off at daycare as well. Oh yeah, and we also caught an Oddish that chat promptly named Snoop Dogg, for obvious reasons. Oddish was a huge addition to the team, giving us the edge we needed to finally take on Misty. So with our ace up our sleeve, we ventured into Cerulean City Gym. Taking on Misty was relatively easy at this point, even with our underleveled Oddish. We just spammed Absorb and Poison Powder, and made easy work of Staryu and Starmie to claim the Cascade badge. With our second badge in hand, we made our way to Vermilion City, where our next opponent awaited, the Giga Chad of all gym leaders, Lieutenant Surge of the Electric Gym. Before taking on Lieutenant Surge, we made our way to Diglett Cave, where we caught a Diglett chat appropriately named Hudong. With our team finally coming together, we made our way onto a cruise ship, tormented its passengers, and defeated our rival for what seems like the 100th time in this run already. We rubbed an old man's back, and he rewarded us with HMO1, Cut. And just like that, we claimed victory over the SSN. But our victory came at a price, as we lost our beloved Hudong during the fierce combat with our rival, leaving us without a ground or rock-type Pokemon to battle Lieutenant Surge with. Without Diglett, our team was in shambles, as we scrambled to come up with a new plan to take on Lieutenant Surge. So after much thinking, we did what any logical person would do in this situation. Taught Charmeleon Dig, and headed to the gym. Lieutenant Surge's gym was surprisingly easy. We took out his lackeys with ease and got the luckiest RNG ever on this stupid puzzle. This left only one obstacle in our path, Lieutenant Surge and his electric Pokemon. Charmeleon made quick work of Voltorb and Pikachu, using his newly learned Dig to decimate the competition like so many foes before them. Raichu gave us a little trouble with his double team, but nevertheless, we still managed to take out Raichu and secure the third badge of our run. With our gym badge in hand and a newfound sense of accomplishment, we picked up the useless HM for Flash and made our way to Rock Tunnel, where we made a new friend named Swolette. Upon exiting Rock Tunnel, we found ourselves in Lavender Town, which we promptly left. On our way to the next gym, we made a fluffy new friend named Spitfire and humiliated every trainer along the way. We made it to Celadon City, where we stole an Eevee and named her Eve, did some shopping, and made our way to the Grass-type gym. Yeah, this is where choosing Charmander started to make this game absurdly easy. We entered the gym, skipped almost every trainer in our path, and defeated Erica's grass-type team with our massively overleveled Charizard in under 5 minutes, and claimed our 4th gym badge. Our victory over the grass-type gym left us feeling good, so we went to test our luck at the local game corner, where we ran into our old friends at Team Rocket. We ventured into Team Rocket's clubhouse, proceeded to bully their members, and immediately got threatened by their leader Giovanni. And honestly, this whole area just feels like an excuse to introduce Giovanni into the game, but whatever. We defeated Giovanni with ease, got the Silph Scope, and made our way back to Pokemon Tower, where we defeated our rival again as he mourned the death of his beloved Raticate. We also had a very lucky encounter with a Cubone we promptly caught and named Bonebreaker, defeated Team Rocket for like the millionth time already in this game, and got the Pokeflute, which we immediately used to get the luckiest Snorlax catch of my life. Our adventure then took us south to Fuchsia City, where we entered the Safari Zone and caught a Dratini named Fang, obtained the HM for Surf, and found a pair of teeth on the ground that we returned to the old man that taught us strength. Returning to Saffron City, we ventured into Silphco to take on Team Rocket for what would be the final time in this game. You know the drill by now, though, however. We went in, showed Team Rocket that these hands are indeed rated E for everyone, got threatened by Giovanni again, which, like, why hasn't someone arrested this man for assaulting children yet? Curb stomped his Nido Queen out of existence, and collected the Master Ball. Oh, and beat our rival. Again. With Team Rocket officially out of the way, I decided to use the Master Ball to catch a Pokemon that would help greatly in the late game. So we ventured over to the power plant, used as many repels as we could get our grubby little hands on, and caught ourselves a Zapdos, named Shiny. Now I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling good at this point. We'd beaten 4 gyms at this point, and our team was stupidly over-leveled, and I felt like we could take on the world. So of course we returned to Fuchsia City to take on Koga's gym. We entered the gym, juked all of the trainers leading to Koga, solved the maze of invisible walls, and challenged the poison gym leader for our 5th gym badge. Koga was a surprisingly easy gym battle, most likely because we were so over-leveled, but we stomped the competition and earned our 5th gym badge of the run. Still riding our high, we made our way back to Saffron City to take on arguably the hardest gym leader in the game, Sabrina. We entered her gym, totally made it through the teleport maze without using a guide, and challenged the psychic gym leader. Sabrina actually ended up being a lot easier than I expected, as we were able to take out most of her team with only 1 Pokemon. The only real worry I had was Alakazam, but in the tradition of this run, our RNG was absolutely insane, and it used Calm Mind 3 times in a row, allowing us to bring out Shiny and end the battle with just 1 Drill Peck. Which, I mean, honestly, was a good thing, because with 3 Calm Minds under his belt, I was not living another turn at all, regardless of who I had out. With Sabrina defeated and our 6th gym badge in our hand, we started to steamroll into the endgame. We returned to Fuchsia City, used Surf, avoided every trainer along our way, missed out on catching Articuno, and finally made it to Cinnabar Island. Upon arriving at Cinnabar Island, we made our way to the research facility, where we claimed Booty, the Kabuto, and Rock Hard, the Aerodactyl. We ventured into the Pokemon Mansion, embarrassed all the trainers there, got the gym key, and made our way to the Fire-type gym and its fearsome leader, Blaine. This gym was absurdly easy, if I'm being honest. Our Gyarados was insanely underleveled, but the type advantage made it so we were able to take down every one of Blaine's Pokemon with no issue whatsoever. With our 7th gym badge in hand and a massively overinflated ego, we were 1 step closer to beating the game. Now it's time for everybody's least favorite part of Fire Red, the filler quests! This is honestly one of my least favorite parts of Fire Red, since it serves no real purpose other than to introduce you to the first of the Sevi Islands, that are more important in the post-game than they are right now. Anyway, we followed Bill to the first 3 islands, delivered more parcels, stopped a biker gang, saved a little girl in the forest, failed to catch a Moltres, and noped our way out of there and back to Cerulean City as fast as we possibly could. And now, finally, it was time to take on the last gym before the Elite Four. With an overinflated ego due to our winning streak, we set our sights on the ground-type gym and its leader, Giovanni. What a freaking surprise. My strategy for this gym was super simple and involved 1 Pokemon, the ever-reliable, underleveled, fearsome, derp, the Gyarados. So we made our way through this hellhole of a maze that is a gym, and arrived at our final opponent. We sent out Gyarados, used Drain Dance, procced a dire hit, and proceeded to one-shot every single Pokemon on his team. And with that, we obtained our last gym badge, and we're finally ready to take on the Elite Four. So we left the gym, healed up, headed towards Victory Road, defeated our rival for the final time, well, second to last time actually, told the security guards I wanted to speak to their manager, and made our way to Victory Road. And after some silly puzzles and a few easy trainer battles, we finally made it to the Elite Four. And this is where the game decided to humble me. Up to this point, we had been blazing through the game, taking on gym leaders with reckless abandon and winning on nothing more than a hope, prayer and God Tier RNG. But that was all about to come to an end. As we ventured into the belly of the beast, we faced our first challenger, Lorelei, and her fearsome Ice-type team. This is where things started to go drastically wrong. No matter how hard we tried, our team was just unprepared for the torment that her Ice-type team was about to inflict on us. We narrowly escaped with our lives, but we used almost all of our heals that we had in this one battle. With our morale and our team in shambles, we powered on to our next opponent, Bruno, who uses rock and fighting type Pokemon. We struggled with Bruno with all of our might and just barely managed to survive thanks to the tireless efforts of Derp the Gyarados. Unfortunately, the sweetest victories can often leave the most bitter taste in your mouth. For in our quest to defeat Bruno, Derp the Gyarados paid the ultimate price, leaving us one team member short as we moved on. At this point, we had only a handful of heals left, almost no PP left for the moves that we needed, and I had been all but brought to my knees as we made our way to Agatha, the Ghost-type trainer who also uses Poison-type Pokemon for some reason. Luckily for us, Charizard was able to handle her team for the most part, but when we got to Arbok, a tragic sledge attack left us on 9 HP and poisoned, and Charizard joined Derp as the second casualty of the Elite Four. In a fit of rage and to avenge his fallen counterpart, Fluffy took Charizard's place and took down Arbok, only to be taken down by Gengar soon after. This looked like the end for us. But luckily, Shiny was able to pull us out of the pits of despair and clinch victory for us. But the price of victory may have been too high at this point, as we ventured on to fight Lance with a 3-man team that was severely underleveled and no heals. We made it to Lance, but with no heals and 3 very underleveled Pokemon, we never stood a chance and didn't even make it past his first Pokemon. So that's how our story ends. 2 trainers away from victory, a ridiculous amount of time put into this game, and a heavy heart as we say goodbye to a run that I won't forget anytime soon. But you know what? Sometimes it's not about getting the outcome you want, but about the journey you find yourself on along the way. This run was the experience of a lifetime for me. I laughed, I cried, and I made so many new friends along the way, both in-game and on this channel. And at the end of the day, that means more to me than the title of Pokemon Champion ever will. So as a wise man in chat once told me, this bout may be over, but the journey itself continues on.